It reminds me of that scene in Starship Troopers when they get drafted into a new platoon, and they talk about where the platoon been. I know, Outer Ring, Zegama Beach, and he's like, Zegama Beach, I always wanted to go there, and he goes, good luck, it's not there anymore. Whatever New Zealand was back in the day, it's certainly not the same now. In fact, nowhere's the same. Nowhere's the same anymore, is it?
Oh, it's true.
I don't know. As a patriot, somebody who loves my country, every time I see certain elements of scumbaggery working their magic on it, I don't know. It's a cross between depression and rage, or just derage. You know, I'm having quite a hard time actually. Just thinking about the future. You know, when you think about the future, you get anxiety. When you think about the past, you get depressed. And when you're in the now, you're fine. And so naturally, I don't think things are fine. I unfortunately don't find any evidence to prove that I'm wrong. I wish I was, you know. But, you know, the terrible thing about being a conspiracy theorist to a large degree is that every single time you assume something, it turns and you usually assume it's a bad thing, it turns out to be true. Like, I remember I walked in the house one day and my wife tells me, Vinny, there was a truck bomb in Times Square that they got found. And I go, don't worry, baby, it was probably the FBI. And it was.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
well, you know,
they're not even trying to cover it up that well anymore. You know, it's maybe they don't have to. Maybe the vast majority of the population is so dumb that they wouldn't believe the truth even if they saw it.
Well, are you familiar with the report from Iron Mountain?
The report from Iron... No.
You got to read that, man. I mean, it lays it out.
Not much of a reader.
It lays it out for you. It lays it out. The necessity of blood sacrifice. It lays it out. It's the most incredible document you'll ever read. They literally say it's like taking a. We had a war economy, you know, economy that supported the war. Now we have a peace economy. The problem is you can't have a government that has a massive military, industrial, corporate complex unless you have a threat of war in times of peace. So you must, therefore, necessarily, through the media, the most important part, show blood sacrifice on television. And it literally tells you how they're going to do it. And that's exactly what they're doing today. That's why that report is so important.
Oh yeah, there's so many reports like this that actually kind of like lay out the groundwork, and we've got a New Zealand equivalent called the Opal File, and that was discovered back in the 70s. It was leaked out, and a friend of mine, Ben Vidgen, he was in military, he was in an artillery intelligence regiment at the time. And he read this and he started talking to all his buddies in the military, and they all called him crazy and so on and so forth. And it's about, well, we're going to come into New Zealand and we're going to take their oil, we're going to impose a banking mafia kind of dictatorship on the place, and we're going to have all these massive surveillance states and everything being set up, and blah, 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 blah. Basically, the whole New World Order agenda in a nutshell, but specifically focused on the New Zealand context, but resource grabbing and well, basically tyranny imposition. And of course, when you go and you say that, everybody thinks you're crazy. And then, of course, even 20, 30 years later, you tell people, actually, you do realize that every single thing that I told you about that was in this document came to fruition, right? And they go, yeah. But you're still crazy, and I'm still not going to listen to you or think that you've got credibility.
You do realize you're going through austerity as we speak, just like they said it would be necessary. See, it costs money for tyranny, so you're going to have to go through austerity. You do realize that, right?
Yeah.
You do realize it's happening now.
Yeah. That reminds me of a joke I made on about Berlusconi. You know, he was the Prime Minister of Italy. And he got caught up in the sex scandal, all these young girls and stuff like that. And it's like, how did this old guy get so many really hot, young, attractive Italian women? And I go, it must have been the size of his austerity package.
Oh man, what's amazing?
And apparently, you know, it'll cause inflation and then deflation and then rampant stagflation.
Oh man, I think it's most amazing is that there's. I think that what they do is they keep the balance. They have this political status called unemployment, right? Employment, unemployment, and as long as they can keep the not even the majority necessarily, just enough people that are satisfied with their working conditions, that are making, close to six figures or above, and that are doing jobs that are absolutely worthless to society in general. A lot of them have to do with upkeeping the computer banks to ensure the proper data, the data retrieval, the data collection. I mean, basically, you got a system set up to where there's enough people that will take the jobs that basically put everybody else including themselves, into the tyranny that somehow the system keeps self-perpetuating and keeps going. That's the amazing part, is there's enough people who, aware or not aware of all this, are willing to participate in their own, basically, theme of enslaving themselves. That's
2 words. Learned helplessness. That's it. End of the day, end of the story. People have forgotten how powerful they are, how strong they are, and how much humanity needs them to get out of their own frickin' way and start being who they were born to be, what they were meant to be. This happened to me, and it wasn't a pleasant experience, I can assure you of that. When you have all your family think that you're crazy, and all your friends and everything throughout your entire life basically just disappear, and your money dries up, and you basically got nothing to show for your entire life's work thus far, it's actually quite traumatic. And that's actually kind of part of my philosophy, is that if you are learning something and it's not traumatic at all, it's probably not it's probably not that valuable a lesson,
I know, if your hair's not turning gray and you're not picking out hairs from your beard, then you're probably not reading the right books. It's true.
Yeah,
funny
exactly.
stuff.
You haven't learned anything of value until you've tried to cry yourself to sleep at night, even though nothing even happened to you, and you just learned what happened to somebody else or what's going on at a higher
Vinny,
realm.
Are you truly a sensitive guy under all this?
Totally.
Under this exterior.
Well, this exterior is my sensitivity. I wear my heart on my sleeve and everything, and it's quite important, I think, because if you're not open, you miss things. It's almost like half the reason why humanity's gotten to the point is that we are in now is because people don't give a crap about each other, and that's why my guests enjoy being interviewed by me so much, is because I actually really do care about them, or at least for that period of time. I can't keep up with everybody, sort of thing. I'm interviewing like 5 new people a week for 3 hours a day, plus going on other people's radio shows and what have you. I can't keep up with nothing, but I can care about you just for that few hours that I'm interviewing you, and actually genuinely care, and really try to get to know who it is you are and what it is you do from a real perspective. And I think we're missing that quite a lot. You have a look at the television shows and movies and a lot of the talk radio and all of the mainstream spectrum, and it seems to be characterized by a lack of empathy and a lack of intelligence, really.
What is reality? Reality TV is basically, hey, how many ways can you harm another person to get ahead? That's basically what reality TV has blossomed.
Exactly. It doesn't talk about like creating real cohesive groups and communities and things of that nature in order to work together. It's actually about everybody working against each other, having no loyalty, and being permeated by scumbaggery.
Well, and actually the loyalty that is, it's like honor among thieves. The loyalty is breeded in scumbaggery. I mean, you're doing it because eventually you're going to harm the people that you're in an allegiance with at the moment. You're scheming the whole time, and of course behind the scenes, because I'm a Hollywood guy, I got to see some of the footage. I got to see the 24-hour footage of some of these reality shows, and trust me, they stay in hotels on Survivor. It's a bunch of crap. We'll be back, folks. Vinny Eastwood. With me today is my very special guest, Vinny Eastwood of The Vinny Eastwood Show, and that's thevinnyeastwoodshow.com, as well as realgorillamedia.com. Vinny, I got the privilege, if you will, of actually seeing some of the unedited footages of Big Brother and Survivor. And like I said, what happens off the scene, off camera, of course, it's a 24-hour camera, but especially at the Big Brother house, what you would see is the producers, the directors, and they had several of them, would come out from behind the corners, and they would basically say, okay, here's what's going to happen. I want you to be sexually attracted to her, and I want you to be sexually attracted to him so that we have a love triangle, and then I want you two to fight against each other. I want you to form a collusion. I want you to be against these people, and I want you to eventually... basically direct the whole thing to get the best possible scenario out of it, the best possible drama, if you will. And in truth, it's like the most boring footage you could ever watch. This guy used to go through it all and just pick out the best parts. And basically the whole thing is designed to show people and to constantly put into their heads, all of these reality shows, again, to put into their heads that the only way you can get ahead is to step on other people's heads. You cannot get ahead without harming or doing something bad. You must scheme and you must work against everyone else in the, basically everything's a competition, even though it's not. And that's what we're being trained on a continuous basis. Every sitcom, everything. It's all designed to destroy any kind of empathetic reaction that we might have.
It's not reinforcing anything that's good for society, is it? And so naturally society starts to fall apart. I don't think people actually realize just how much power and influence over our culture the media has. All right? It's virtually total. If one particular thing is all over the media, what's everybody going to be talking about? What's everybody going to be believing? What's everybody going to be accepting? Yeah. And I think this is probably the reason why I got into the media, is because I see it's probably it's the slow blade that penetrates the shield. You see what I'm saying? In the Dune sense of the word, that's what the media is doing. They're slipping the knife into your mind, and they're doing it very, very slowly, so that whenever it needs to be backed up physically, whether by the militarized police or the scumbaggery government and what have you, hey, everybody will be prepared for it. They're just softening us up, fattening us up like swine.
Yeah. Like I said, it's a way to get a mutual consent of the people, even if they don't consent to whatever it is they're trying to pull. It is a form of indoctrination, a form of informing people what is happening and what is going to happen, and even what has happened. And basically, like you said, what has media become? It's become a reporting agency, not investigative reporting, as much as it is just, okay, a crime was committed, trillions were taken out of the economy, and no one gets in trouble. We're not going to do anything with this information. We're just going to report it. And it's a big disclosure, but nothing's being done. No one is actually taking the ball. And similar, and this is why I think it's important for you and for me and anybody else that takes even the smallest of shows out there. It's very important to make it clear that nothing is going to change just by me getting on here and blabbering about things and you listening. Is not going to change things. It actually will take direct action. It will actually, because just because you're hearing it on the media doesn't mean action is being taken. Just because Alex Jones talks about it doesn't mean that he's doing anything about it or anybody else. You know?
See, the thing is, the media's got one job, and that's to spread the information so that people can take action that is actually effective without going in blind. Right? That's about it. Everybody tells the media people to solve all their problems for them so that they don't have to, so they can just sit back and continue to be freaking spectators. Stop being a spectator! God, just get off your ass at some point, do something, anything, just don't do nothing!